When I started playing Magic back in 2021, the newest set at the time was Kaldheim, which I guess you can say means that Kaldheim was my first ever Magic set, since it was the newest and the first I saw a lot of when it was new. But I more so consider Strixhaven my first Magic set, since it was the first one I experienced Spoiler Season 4, which I feel is part of the Magic experience. Watching as everyone talks about the new cards as they're revealed, brews around them, talks about cool ideas they have for new decks, and all that stuff. I feel like that is an important part of the Magic experience, and Strixhaven was the first time I ever experienced that for Magic. Because of that, and because of the timing of us getting a new Strixhaven set near my 5th anniversary of starting the game, I feel it was a good enough time as any to talk about Strixhaven and how much I adore it and how much it means the world to me in a way that no other set really does or can. So that's what we're going to do today. This is why Strixhaven means the world to me. Back in 2021 when Strixhaven came out, I adored Harry Potter and it was a very important part of my life. It was the only book series I had ever read and really connected to. I'm not really a book person and I never really was a book person, but Harry Potter just connected to me for multiple reasons. I came from an abusive household and didn't really have any friends, so it's themes of not letting that define you and that found family is just as important as blood family in a lot of ways. It's themes of love and kindness being important. It really just stuck to me as a child, and I'd argue that it partially made me the kind of person that I am. I connected to this world and I connected to these characters, and I know it's lame to say, especially in retrospect, but it genuinely was a big part of my life and a big part of who I am and my personality. I love the theories and the movies, and it was such a comfort media for me that I reread them every year or two and loved it every time, and it got me through so much shitty situations that I just have to appreciate it. Digging deep into the trivia and fun facts and so on, I saw every movie as they came out. I played a lot of the video games. It was just a huge part of my life. In 2021 or so, maybe a little bit before, I was just realizing what was going on behind the scenes with it. The author I don't want to name being a bigoted monster and a terrible human being. And it made me heartbroken. I could no longer, in good consciousness, talk about or support this IP that meant the world to me and genuinely defined who I am. Because despite that, my friends, my trans friends, all of my friends are more important to me than that. And it kind of fucked me up bad mentally, losing one of my comfort medias, one of the things that got me through tough times, because despite me loving Harry Potter and it being important to me, it's not as important to me as my friends, as trans people, as other people in general, and I had to give it up, and I couldn't support it anymore. Strixhaven came into spoiler season soon after, and it genuinely did fill the gap that was left by Harry Potter for me. I fell in love with these character designs, this world, the flavor, the schools. It all just clicked with me, and you can argue it's sort of weird rebound magic school situation, but it was at the right place and at the right time with the right flavor for me. I love the sense of community around the different houses, with an emphasis on being a family with your other schoolmates in that world. It felt nice at times seeing people picking their schools in real life and changing their profile pictures and talking with each other, gushing about the art for their school of preference, each with their own color schemes and vibes. And it just showed me that one of the biggest things about Magic is its togetherness, being a family with the other players and having a good time and helping each other. Other card games I love, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, are so focused on the competitive scene, improving and getting better. They're fun and they care about having a fun time and doing cool stuff, but Strixhaven showed me that Magic was different and was more so about togetherness and kindness and having fun. I'd argue that Strixhaven showed me one of the major things about Magic that drew me to it instantly and is a big reason that I love Magic today. I've met so many kind people through this community, even if it's just through replies on social media or Reddit posts or Discords that I pop into now and then. I feel like I have Strixhaven to thank for that aspect of Magic that drew me into it and made me fall in love with it. Just buying a Willow Dusk Precon and my partner buying the Lorehold one and our roommate at the time buying the Quandrix one made me feel good, like we all had a clan and a community that we clicked with that represented us, that we also could share with each other and talk about with each other and gush with each other about. It's not even just the flavor or the lore, or that it showed me what I truly love about Magic and made me appreciate the game more. It's just, also as a set, this is one of my favorites of all time. I love how it's built, I love how it's structured, I love everything about it. I already love faction sets, and this may be the only faction set I can think of, at least off the top of my head, where I genuinely enjoy every single one of the factions or groups near equally, and I love how mechanically they all try something at least slightly different from their normal color pair themes. It's just something that I really appreciate, and that makes Strixhaven stand out in my mind mechanically from all the other two-colored faction sets. Izzet usually cares about spell slinging, casting as many spells in a turn as possible so you can get to a higher storm count or make a bunch of triggers happen for finishers or advantage. But on Strixhaven, the Prismari more so care about casting huge spells and doing artistic tricks in order to spend all your mana on one huge blowout, while using Magecraft triggers and copy spells in order to get the most out of your mana in a unique and interesting way. I feel they capture the artistry vibe of the school perfectly, while also giving us a unique spin on Izzet that makes it feel very different from the Ravnica version of Izzet, while still feeling like an Izzet deck, if that makes sense. Normally, if a set has an aristocrat and life gain theme, those are going to be put in Orzhov or Selesnya, but here it's in Golgari, which I like. Golgari is usually about graveyards, but they typically got to it by self-mill, and I think the more aristocrat vibe they have going on here is really cool. Plus, the life gain from the pest tokens and death triggers go really well together in my opinion, and fits the themes and vibes of the school as well, caring about the sciences of life and death with the essence and energy of both aspects of existence to get more out of it. Boros being artifacts on Strixhaven is not the newest thing out there, but the way it cares about the graveyard and makes spirit tokens, which are not usually Boros feeling to me, really makes them stand out in my mind. I usually find Boros boring, since 99% of the time it's just combat or tokens, but here I actually remember and like the Lorehold school. Even in Secrets of Strixhaven, which at the time of recording this we only have a few cards for, the Boros legend we have cares about instants and sorceries with rummaging, which do not feel Boros at all to me, but it's why I like it, because it's so different from what Boros normally does. Even the two that I think this could arguably apply the least to, Quandrix and Silverquill, have their own take on their identities that I think do a good job to stand out. Quandrix caring about tokens and weird numbers and X spells feels very on theme for a math-themed school, while also being at least a bit different from your average Simic ramp theme that's in most sets. And Silverquill focusing on politics and tokens is nothing that new, but the addition to +1/+1 counters adds at least something for me, and I do think you have to have some more normal draft themes in a set like this. Another thing I love is the way they incorporate their mascot tokens into the gameplay. Because Prismari is going to be spending most of their mana on one huge blowout spell, and maybe a cheap copier, it makes sense to have elemental tokens to make up for it and give them blockers. The pest tokens getting you life when they die works perfectly with the slight aristocrat theme Witherbloom have, while also working with the life gain theme obviously. The flying inkling tokens help add inherent invasion to Silverquill, so you can put your +1/+1 counters on it. The spirit tokens and fractal tokens are just part of what Lorehold and Quandrix do in general, so that obviously works. They all work well and don't feel tacked on, helping with their respective schools really well. I also love the way they incorporate non-permanent spell matters themes into each of the schools. Lessons and Learn are a great way and creative way to make sure the decks aren't too creature light, since they all have some form of caring about instants and sorceries, and unlike a wish mechanic, it's much easier to rule 0 with in Commander. Every archetype having some form of magecraft makes them all benefit from it and encourages learning in all color themes, and it's just really cool and, like I said, a really creative way to handle the situation that they were in, with wanting to make spells matter since it's a Magic school theme. They could have just made the Prismari Magecraft and Spellslinger. They could have just made the Silverquill the Aristocrat life gain pair. They could have just made Lorehold care about tokens, but they didn't. They put the time and effort in to make them all more unique than that, while still feeling like something these colors can do and would care about. If I told you before Strixhaven came out about all of these things, that it's a faction set where every pair cares about tokens, they all have Magecraft, plus a non-permanent theme, and also having their own gimmicks that stand out from each other, you would think the set would feel clunky or overstuffed or doing too much. But it really doesn't. It feels natural, it feels good to play, and there's clearly so much effort put into this set. At the time of recording this, we only have a few new cards from the Secrets of Strixhaven set, and I was so worried that they were just going to do a Lost Caverns of Ixalan type backdrop set. I love Lost Caverns. I just didn't want the second Strixhaven set to be the school's destroyed and never rebuilt. Now the characters in Strixhaven are doing other stuff fully or whatever. And I was a bit worried that the plane would be kind of a standard fantasy setting without as much of a focus on the school. And I'm happy to see that that doesn't seem to be the case with Secrets of Strixhaven. Strixhaven is very important to me. It's the plane where anytime we ever revisit it, anytime we get a small cameo, or anytime any of his characters show up, I'm going to be happy. It's the thing that made me fall in love with Magic the Gathering, and is the reason I'm here talking to you on a Magic channel today. It's something that means the world to me, and I know some people are going to call it Harry Slopper or whatever, or hate it for being Magic school tropes and being too tropey. I've already seen a few people do that, but I love it, and I'll always love it, and I'll always appreciate it, and Secrets of Strixhaven is one of the most excited I've ever been for a Magic set. Strixhaven means the world to me, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm sorry this video was like rambly or whatever. I just wanted to gush about Strixhaven for a few minutes, and I was gonna do a G Rambles, but it didn't really work as an unscripted thing, and it seemed even less structured. I just wanted to gush about Strixhaven, and I figured this would be a time to do so. I have social media, and by that I mean a Blue Sky, which is linked in the description. I also have a Let's Play channel, which is also linked down there, so you can follow me on either of those places. I also have a Ko-fi if you want to give a little something, and a Throne if you want to give a little something. I am working on the Ancient One EDH guide. That should come out sometime in February, assuming everything goes well. I think that's all I really wanted to say, so I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.